Hey guys, this is the interview queen Alicia too, and you are currently watching True Heel Heat.
Hello. It is me, your True Heel Phenom SP3. We are back once again. This is the Pro Wrestling Spotlight presents True Heel Heat 69.
Hey, 69, bro.
And that reaction.
Niggas is gonna be doing the thing after this episode. You know what I'm saying?
Firstly, we got the lovely, the beautiful, the princess of all the True Heels herself, Miss Krssi Luv.
What's going on, peeps?
Then we have the one, the only, the resident True Heel alcoholic, Top Guy JJ.
Bottles up, tap, bottles up. You know what I mean? You know.
On this edition of True Heel Heat, since we already gave you our WrestleMania 36 reactions, we're going to be giving you a full ranking of all 36 WrestleManias. Yes, we did the hard work for you, and we ranked them from worst to best, so that's what we're going to get into. But first of all, we got to tell you what we've missed. We got to go through our top news, and then firstly, how we start off every True Heel Heat is with our True Heel roll call. This is where we shout out everyone that's contributing to us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on the YouTube channel. So our top three conversation starters, our True Heel Trinity, is coming in at number 3 again, is the New Japan aficionado, James Wims. We got at number 2, the host of the Romeo Report, Romeo Anthony Colon. And number 1, once again, the Negro Buck, Nick Jackson.
Yo, is anybody ever going to dethrone this man? Like, oh
probably
my God.
not.
You know what? My man loves wrestling and he loves the True Heels. Shout outs to you as always, man.
Word.
You know, shout outs to you, brother.
He's a dedicated brother. True Heels that we got to shout out.
Hey, cheers.
Cheers.
Salud.
Yes. Cheers to you guys. Cheers. My lens cup. The True Heels we got to shout out. True Heels we got to shout out Cody Thornton, Daryl Lucas, Brian Bollock, John E. Merrow, Donald Nurin, and Kayla Cheto. And YouTube subscribers, we got a couple of new ones and a couple of people that's commenting on a lot of our videos. We want to thank you guys for commenting and liking all those new countdowns and reviews that we got on our YouTube channel. So our YouTube subscriber shout out is for Kings as well as Dustin Noon. Both guys commented on our latest videos. So let's move right into what we missed. We talked about WrestleMania 36.
I have a rookies YouTube question. This is like a YouTube for dummies question, and I'm one of the dummies. Is there a way to get tagged when somebody comments on that stuff so we can respond? Because I never know when anybody comments on that stuff.
You just check the comments on the page. The True Heel Heat usually gets tagged in it. But yes, if you check the comments on the page, you can usually respond to them.
Are your notifications open, or where you want to be notified when a person posts on that page?
Yeah, you have to make that. You have to actually go through making the notifications open for that.
Okay, thank you. That's why I just said this is a YouTube for dummies question. I was a dummy.
novice.
I made myself the guinea pig. Yeah, I made myself the guinea pig. Thank you. And you're welcome to all the other YouTube dummies out there that don't know that either. So I just sacrifice myself to look like the YouTube dummy for the rest of you guys.
Sacrifice, yes. So let's move into what we missed. We've already talked about WrestleMania 36, so we got to talk about the Raw after WrestleMania. I would probably say that Top Guy JJ was wrong when he said last year WrestleMania 35, Raw after WrestleMania would be the weakest, because WrestleMania 36 was like, hold my beer.
It's not fair. It's not fair. It's not
but
fair.
But it is what it is.
No, I'm stuck on my call. That is not fair.
Weakest edition, Drew McIntyre defeats The Big Show to defend the WWE title. This was 20 minutes after he defeated Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship. A lot of the footage was recorded before WrestleMania was even recorded. So if you notice, certain people were not in the WrestleMania gear, not like a typical Raw after WrestleMania. That's probably why, and why a lot of the footage did seem kind of old or not into what was going on with WrestleMania. So, any comments on the Raw after WrestleMania, or
Nia Jax came back?
Exactly. I think that's and
Bianca Belair. Boo! I hate that. No.
Why do you hate that?
Because she's gonna get lost in the
Yeah,
shuffle.
Bianca
Like
Belair's
she still has so much stuff to do at NXT. I feel like they never gave her a chance. I mean, yeah, put her with her husband, but like I don't know, man. I'm happy, but I'm not happy at the same time. It's like a curse. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know, man. Like I was really, really sad and happy. The debut was cool. It was cute. Her against Zelina, great. But it was cute.
The debut was cute.
It was cute. Like the way Montez, I mean, he looks at her like it's crazy. Like it's beautiful. But like I'm just
Montez looks at her like he wants to fuck her every minute of the day.
Absolutely. And that's how it should be.
And that's love. That's black love. You know what I mean? Like
and she's like, wait, you ain't gotta talk. I don't need y'all to talk. I'm good. But
it was very weirdly blocked her debut as well, where she's talking to Zelina Vega but looking at the camera, where Zelina is 30 feet behind her. That was very weirdly blocked. It was awkward.
It's just, it's a curse and a gift at the same time.
Hard camera, and Vega
and
was
the other way.
Yeah.
And you don't know when Zelina's gonna fight because she has on like wrestling clothes, like.
It all seemed very telegraphed.
Kind of like the production team is supposed to like put her on, or the cameraman's supposed to be in the right place. Like she followed the cameraman, so that's not her fault.
That is true. She knows what she was doing. Right.
Whoever you want to blame for that, it was just very
she
awkward.
Can't go in the ring and then tell the cameraman you need to go
that way.
There was
a camera guy right by the ring. You face that camera, or you tell that guy to turn around to the other side. It's very simple, but we're not going to go into that. What was your thoughts, Top Guy JJ? I think we kind of said all the gist about Raw after WrestleMania. We kind of agree it's the weakest. What was your thoughts on the Dark Side of the Ring Brawl for Raw episode? If you guys haven't already, you can check out me and Krssi Luv. All of our thoughts on that episode on our latest review that's up on the YouTube channel right now. Top Guy JJ, what was your thoughts on the episode? It's slightly down from last week's New Jack episode. The documentary it turns into another round of Cornette versus Russo, but also another note from this episode is that former WWE writer reports that Vince McMahon contemplating the return of the tournament for the inaugural season of WWE NXT. So in 2010, we were going to see the Brawl for All return, apparently.
No.
Wow.
Yeah, 2010, that was a strange time. They wanted Wade Barrett to win that NXT season. He was a bare knuckle fighter, so that kind of makes sense. But what was your thoughts on the episode, Top Guy JJ?
I'll be right back.
All right. Yep. And so then to recap for me for the Raw one, just a quick note. So Brock and McIntyre didn't main event WrestleMania. It was Big Show versus McIntyre.
It was taped for Raw, so stop it. Go on. Go with your thoughts on it, and then we can move on to Dark Side of the Ring.
So thoughts on Raw or thoughts on Dark Side?
What's your thoughts on Dark Side? You're the one that mentioned Raw. We moved on from Raw.
Dark Side of the Ring just kind of emphasized to let me believe that if Jim Cornette could fight, he would be a wrestling Hall of Famer. Because the promos and the stuff that he can that comes out of his mouth, if he was able to back that up with in-ring action, he would be a Hall of Famer.
He is a Hall of Famer.
He would be a wrestling hall, like a wrestler's Hall of Fame. He'd be in a Hall of Fame for wrestling.
He is in the Hall of Fame for wrestling.
Not for his contributions.
He is. It is. It's
talking about as a wrestler.
You say he can be a Hall of Fame wrestler. Stop saying he can be in the Wrestling Hall of Fame. He's already in the Wrestling Hall of Fame. He could be a Hall of Fame wrestler.
What the hell I meant?
No, I didn't.
That's like, you know what the hell I meant. Not as a commentator, not as a manager, not as a contributor, as an in-ring competitor. Because the shit that comes out of that man's mouth is legendary. Like, when he called him a shit stain of wrestling, the shit stain of life. He called him a shit stain of life. That was, I was like, he just hate. When you hate somebody that much, you just have all sorts of venom that comes out of your fucking mouth. And he has a genuine hatred for how... how Jim Cornette has a natural hatred for how he can't stand how Vince Russo almost killed the business.
I love it.
And the passion Cornette has, if he was able to match that in the ring, oh my God, he'd be legendary.
Yeah.
He'd be legendary in
That's
the
the only
square
good part of that episode was them two.
Yeah, other than that,
I'd say Bart Gunn was
Bart Gunn was pretty interesting because obviously it was like, just reminding us of the guy that really got screwed. Like he really, his whole career just got screwed. And anybody that's like, oh, he wasn't a good character anyway, I was like, he was promised a feud. So let him get his one feud, fail it, and then move on. Like he could have got a match at Backlash. He could have got a match at Over the Edge. Like he could have got one of those regular ass in your house pay-per-views at the time. And then
he could have, you're right.
And move on from him. Like nobody remembers them shits.
No, they really don't though.
He could have got one of those pay-per-views, called it a career, said, you know what, we gave you your shot, you failed. Now this is what we're gonna do with you. They didn't even give him that. They sent his ass home and kept him home for a year.
Like they punished him for doing the job that they told him to do.
Winning something. They kept him home because he won something he wasn't supposed to. And I mean, it was like, all right, that's great. And then I just felt really, really bad for what happened to Dr. Death. Like it kind of just reminded me of how fucked up that situation was because he was brought in as a prize fighter to expose JBL because they wanted him to fuck Bradshaw up.
I don't remember Dr.
Death. I remember what I remembered about him is that he was so highly talked about from JR through his work in Japan.
Gotcha.
And the way Jim Ross was building him up, like he was really, really pumping Dr. Death Steve Williams up upon his arrival to the WWF. And it was like, whoa, like, it was like, he the way he's selling him, he might be something. And then Brawl for All happened and nothing ever happened. Nothing ever happened. And it was like, Jesus Christ. And it was like, we don't ever really think that deep into something until you kind of get the story. But when I do remember how JR was plugging. He loved Dr. Death. He loved him. And other than that, it's pretty much stuff that we pretty much knew already about the business. But those are the two outliers that came out of it for me was the Dr. Death side and the Bart Gunn side.
First thing Sid asked me when we did that recording, do you have your notes? No notes needed. Shit was trash, so.
Other than that, it was a pretty fairly weak episode. I mean, and obviously it gives you that stain of a reminder of what happened to Darren Drozdov, which was fucking unfortunate as shit because it's like, damn.
The good thing about
I think it added a lot to this documentary though to kind of talk about how anything could happen in wrestling. And a note that
he did beat JBL.
Yeah, and it was
he got screwed in that decision. But one last,
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying this is a competition that obviously no one gave a shit about. Like you can even tell from the lack thereof reactions of any. The only time that crowd started to react to that Brawl for All, and they got any reaction to it, and I remember it pretty vividly, was when Bart Gunn fought the Godfather. When them two fought, there was actual reaction. Like there was it felt like the crowd was starting to finally believe and get into this. But everything else, that shit was utter silence.
Because that was the bathroom time. Basically, no one really gave, let me go to the concession stand, get a drink.
People were trying to process that shit. People were just trying to process that shit.
Nah.
Most people didn't really need bathroom breaks at Raw at that time because it was only 2 hours. So it wasn't a long show. So basically, I mean, people didn't know what the fuck this was. It was like, this is not Stone Cold. This ain't DX. This ain't The Undertaker. This ain't Vince. What are they doing? Like, they can't box. They're not real grapple wrestlers. They just falling on the floor, and one of them's gonna get a lucky punch, and then and it's over. Like, this is not like they don't even know what they're doing. That's kind of like if you're watching it on TV, like these dudes ain't getting no training at all. And I remember that shit as a kid. I was like, what's going on? I had to ask myself, like, what the hell is this? Like, what are they doing? Like, they're just falling all over. They're falling and they're not even hitting each other. Okay, because those takedowns were sloppy as fuck. Those takedowns were horrible.
They should have had takedowns from the get-go. Like
that's what I was like, I don't know what I'm watching. And you see that, and every Monday night, you see with them big ass letters, you just see brawl, frawl. Like, I was like, oh god, here this shit goes, hurting my TV yet again. Who's about to come out in some underwears and come and get clocked or dropped because they all came out in either pants or some boxing shorts. Like, this shit is pretty bad. It's pretty bad. And they just reminded us how fucking horrible it was.
So one last note on that Dark Side of the Ring. Our producer, Baby Seth, let me know that on Conrad Thompson's Dark Side of the Podcast, they talk to the creators after every episode. And to me, one of the things that stood out the most of this episode was the fact that Bart Gunn seemed very sad. And then kind of relating to the story, it seemed like he was sad because of what happened to his career. But on the Dark Side of the Podcast, we found out that apparently his son and his friend were trying to clean a gun a couple of years ago, maybe a decade back, and the gun went off and killed his son. And ever since then, he's kind of been in this kind of form of depression. So that's a side story on Bart Gunn that wasn't really addressed on the documentary, but I thought it was a cool note to kind of address here. So
I mean,
we talked
goddamn, not a cool note.
Right.
Well, it's a note and kind of explains why he was so sad. But we got to move on to our top news. Our top news story is WWE backstage heat on former WWE Universal Champion Bill Goldberg. WrestleZone reports that Goldberg pushed hard to defeat the Fiend Bray Wyatt and become the Universal Champion at WWE Super Showdown, aka WWE Sweet Saudi money. Five. And leading to a last-minute change in WWE's booking plans. Wyatt was originally going over, but out of fear of damaging his character and his image, Bill talked them into giving him creative control, arguing that younger fans would want to see Goldberg and his superhero character topple the monster, save the day, and come out on top. Bray agreed to put him over, which helped him with his reputation and respect among WWE officials. So what are your guys' thoughts on Goldberg using creative control to win the Universal Championship? We'll start with Top Guy JJ because he's very passionate about this topic.
I'll give 2 of them for you, friend. Make it 3.
Make it 4.
Okay.
So are people going to get it yet why this pisses me off? Are people going to finally start to register this shit as to why I have profoundly said that his eulogy was written? Because
then he got in the ring with Goldberg.
Oh, we just spent all that time making him this unstoppable force that the WWE could have backed their engine behind. And then here this cocky son of a bitch comes and interjects his old ass and says, I need to go over to save my reputation. Nigga, you're 53 years old.
Yep.
Your career is over. It's over. You're getting a fat 7-figure paycheck to arrive in Jeddah, wherever the fuck that shit was.
Yep.
And that's not enough.
That's
not enough. Like, dude, you probably got more money in that one match than Bray Wyatt's contract for the entire fucking year. But that's not enough for you. That's not enough. So now you got to go in there, and now, so when anybody else did this shit, like when Triple H did this shit, or when somebody else did this shit, when they were the top guy and they want to bury a talent, now it's not an issue now if Goldberg does it. Man, fuck Goldberg. Fuck that booking. Fuck the fact that they said yes, and fuck whoever agrees with that shit. And if you want to be down with that, then fuck you too.
Yep. Facts.
But what about you, Miss Krssi Luv? What's your thoughts on Goldberg using creative control to win the Universal Championship?
It sucks. It's sad. Like, you use your power to claim that you want to be the superhero. That you wrestle once a year, maybe twice. Like, no one gives a shit about you. Like, the people over there in Jeddah didn't really give a shit about you either. Like, Like we know who you are. You've done this. Like you can lose. Like no one cares. It's really it sucks that you use your power for this foolishness.
So do you see WWE working with Goldberg again, Krssi?
Of course, always.
Yes, it's WWE.
Right. The legends always get over. When
Goldberg will be there by Sweet Saudi Money 7.
18, 19, 20.
6 will come very, very soon. And what do you guys think? I know Top Guy JJ's answer already, so I'll ask Krssi. Do you see the Fiend being able to overcome this loss? And I think they've already started like the rehabilitation process with the Firefly Funhouse match. But do you foresee the Fiend being able to overcome this?
My hope is yes. And because he's so good at what he's doing right now, his character is so good, and he's putting all his stuff in it. I hope he can get back over. I mean, I'm here for him, so I mean, I hope so. Everyone else will just see the same thing.
I hope so as well. So that is our major top news, but we got to move on to week 26 of the Wednesday Night Wars. This is our favorite.
Just know that I love Bray Wyatt. That just I love Bray. That's why this shit hurts so much. I love Bray Wyatt.
I feel like you're very much of a pessimist when it comes to Bray Wyatt, though.
I hate the handling of him. I've always hated the handling of him.
Fair enough. So week 26 of the Wednesday Night Wars, AEW Dynamite and WWE NXT. Finally, after I believe it's 17 weeks of 2020, WWE NXT has finally been victorious. Victorious once again over AEW Dynamite. And WWE NXT finishes up with 600.
You know why that was, right? You know why.
They finished up with 693,000 viewers to AEW Dynamite 692,000 viewers. AEW Dynamite still won in the 18-49 key demo, and but NXT did not even rank in the 18-49 key demo, but they still won by 1,000 viewers. So, what's your thought, Miss Krssi Luv, on NXT getting the victory, and what was your thoughts on both shows last night?
I think they won just because it was like a takeover event, and it's supposed to be because it was supposed to come on last week, and they had all these matches that were supposed to take place. So that's why I think everyone tuned in for that show. Show was overall good. I'm sure it could have been if they had a crowd there. They would. It wasn't the takeover forum of that we're used to, but it was good. AEW was good. I didn't see the ending of AEW. That little sidetrack didn't work. But other than that, the show started off well. I mean, but I was mostly watching NXT while I was doing the other things in my house.
Top Guy JJ, what about you? What's your thoughts on the first victory of 2020 for NXT, and what was your thoughts on both shows last night?
Yeah, that was the WWE mark dance right there. Like, hey, we finally got a week, baby. We won a week. Like, oh shit! All the marches like, hell yeah, we knew we could do it, son. We knew we could pull off a week. We could beat them. We knew it was gonna happen. It was destined to happen. We could definitely smash AEW every week. Nah, nigga. Nah. Yeah, I needed a whole full-blown month-long promoted takeover event.
Yep.
With a 5-way women's ladder match to promote your strongest rivalry in an empty arena, name tag the match, have this shit an hour long.
Word.
An hour long, and you won by 1,000 viewers.
That's the only reason that they won.
Squeaked it out. And mind you, this was probably one of AEW's weaker episodes in general. Because they had so many people take the week off because they've been working so much. So there's been promos and vignettes from the other guys. So they gave Killer Cross his shine. The women's match between Sheeta and Britt Baker was fucking amazing. Oh my god, that match was amazing. Yes. The tag match was also really good, and then Cody and Shawn Spears, another classic WWE style match. But it worked, I guess. But yeah. That's AEW, WWE Marks is like, fuck yeah, we beat him. We got him.
We got him.
We got him.
So to kind of break down what happened on both
That
shows.
was awesome. That's awesome, friend.
Kind of break down what happened on both shows. WWE NXT Ciampa versus Gargano battle in an over 40-minute match inside an empty arena.
That shit was whack. Sorry, not sorry. I agree with you, Sid, on that one.
Where Gargano wins thanks to Candice LeRae, which divides fans on opinion. We'll get into that. Io Shirai wins the 6-way ladder match to become the number 1 contender for Charlotte Flair's NXT Women's Championship. AEW Dynamite had Cody defeating Shawn Spears to move on to the semifinals of the TNT Championship Tournament. Shida versus Britt Baker, like Top Guy JJ said, was a bloody war. Probably the best match of Wednesday night, in my opinion. Best Friends beat Omega and Nakazawa in a very polarizing comedy match, and Archer and Mr. Brody get quick squash victories. So what was your guys' thoughts, your overall thoughts? We'll start with Top Guy JJ on Gargano and Ciampa. The Rebel Heart versus the Black Heart. One final beat. Top Guy JJ?
I think he's gonna get some music for you, friend.
Oh God! It doesn't have the same effect. If we're not in, it doesn't have.
Yo, I can't. I just, so that was like the hypest that I got for the entire thing. First of all, the match was way too fucking long. Like y'all thought, first of all, you thought that Edge and Orton was long? This shit was part 2 of part 1 and 2. This shit was like, oh my God. This shit was mad long, first of all. Hook, line, and sinker absolutely no one. Not as I predicted, of course. This shit did not end. Story's not over. WWE don't know how to just end shit with a basic fucking finish. Can we just finish the fucking match? Can we just finish it? One man leaves. We like finishes, and it's over.
Why would they do that?
No. So here we go. WWE has got to come in and interject with the booking and put their spin on this match, because I just saw mad WWE elements in there. Just mad here. We're gonna pull out the cane. We're gonna pull out the crutch and show and we're gonna show this capacity crowd the crutch. Like, what? You took 5 minutes. It was too much. Much play with no crowd.
The best way to describe the match, it was very self-indulgent. And it was very against everything that the program was about. The program between Ciampa and Gargano was very organic. They broke up. They got together at the right time. They broke up at the right time. They had their series of matches. Maybe the third one came a little bit fast because of the injury to Aleister Black. But they pretty much, all of their matches, it was at the right time. When they brought this feud back, it kind of felt like it was a rehash, but they were able to get you back into the feud over the last couple of weeks building up to this match. And then it was just a whole bunch of stuff where they were hitting you over the head with stuff. Yes, I'm going to attack his neck. No, Johnny, you can't attack his neck. He's had neck surgery. I know he's had neck surgery. Just hitting you over the head with the fact that Ciampa has a bad neck. I get it. I've been watching for a number of weeks. You don't need to tell me this. We don't need to tell me this shit. Like, I was like, yo, this is just way too long. It was definitely better worked than Edge and Orton. Definitely better worked. It was better worked in the, and I love the production of it. I love how it was shot. But the cinematic part of it, it was definitely a better worked cinematic match than like the Boneyard match or the Firefly Funhouse. The work in the actual match was great. I just feel like if you trimmed 10 minutes of it, made it more tighter, and then had a stronger finish, I felt like the finish was very well executed. It was very well done for what they were going for, but it was the wrong finish. You can't promote this as the blow off in the final matchup and have a finish like that.
Yep.
No.
If you are gonna have interference, Killer Cross should have interfered in the freaking matchup.
I think that would have happened. That was going to happen.
If you have interference, it should at least make the fans anticipate what's next. If you had Killer Cross interfere, it'd be like, okay, what's next? It's going to be Ciampa and Cross. Oh, I'm going to look forward to that. You make people tune in. There's no reason to tune into NXT next week. They literally promoted nothing outside of a lower third that said Cruiserweight Championship Tournament starts next week. That's it. That's the only thing they promoted.
SP, how about the simplest thing? How about you kill the rivalry with a killer? Why can't just the simple shit just go? Like, just keep it simple. You end the rivalry. You send Johnny away to go off towards another title run, and Ciampa now has to deal with Killer Cross. Like, why is this so hard?
It's not that hard.
They are their own worst enemy. Like, they don't get it.
But you know what? It worked because we won. NXT won.
So it worked. So what were your guys' thoughts on the tag team match on AEW Dynamite? I know my good friends Jimmy and Cash have very strong opinions on this, and they'll get into that this weekend on the All Elite recap. But Jimmy himself, I'll give you a little bit of a spoiler. He says that it's top 2 worst things he's seen on AEW Dynamite. I felt like the comedy aspect and Michael Nakazawa, I hate to say this because I love everybody getting work and I love people being on television, but Michael Nakazawa does not belong on TNT. That's how that was my big thing to it. I felt like the match was good. I was entertained by it, but I did see the way in talent margin of Trent, Chucky T, Kenny Omega, and Michael Nakazawa. Michael Nakazawa is like down here compared to even Chucky T. And Chucky T is the 3rd best performer in this match.
When did he become a part of AEW? Because I'm like, wait.
He became a part of it earlier last summer before Fighter Fest.
He had a fight on like any of their pay-per-views or anything?
Yeah, on Fighter Fest.
Didn't remember it.
Well, he's not that memorable. The oil gimmick is very
That's my point.
wearing. It
That
depends.
is my point, friend.
It depends on the fan. It depends on the fan very much with the whole oil gimmick. To me, honestly, I know Top Guy JJ. You said you enjoyed that match, though, right?
Okay, I enjoyed every part that he wasn't in the ring for. Like, yo, he put oil on himself. I'm like,
stupid.
What the fuck is this? And then before they went to commercial break, he grabs this dude's legs and he starts running with his legs. I'm like, what the fuck am I watching? What the fuck am I watching? And now you're leaving this to poor Trent to have to sell this shit. He has to sell this bullshit. So it's like, but when the bout machine, like when the actual talent was in the ring, the match was good.
Yeah. But if you could get through the Nakazawa,
Nakazawa is not my cup of tea at all. I'm sorry, like I'm not fucking with him. I can't do it. I won't even try.
But I will say the number one highlight for Wednesday night for me was the video packages for the AEW Championship. Empty arena, no holds barred next week between Jake Hager and Jon Moxley. It made me interested in a match that if you told me in WWE as Dean Ambrose versus Jack Swagger, I would not want to see that match. But they've got me very hyped because they've made it a little bit real. They played off Hager's experience in MMA. They've given Moxley the opportunity to talk and sell this match, and he's done a great job. So I just wanted to point that out. So we got to move on to WWE news. We'll run through a few of these. I'll get your thoughts on a few of these. But WWE releases a memo informing all staff and superstars that they will be testing everyone for COVID-19 upon their arrival for this week's TV tapings. They're going to be taking...
they got tests? Because a lot of people need tests out here. I'm just saying.
Apparently, WWE has the doctors to do these tests. They're going to be taping SmackDown this week. They're going to be taping Monday Night Raw. They're going to be taping NXT as well as the following week's SmackDown. Rhea Ripley is apparently still in the United States following the reports of her work visa expiring. We talked about that on True Hill Heat 68, but she put out on her IG story that she is still in the U.S., which, in my opinion, it does not confirm that she is not, that her work visa is not expired. So,
right.
Teach yourself. Rumors from behind the scenes for WWE report that the plans moving forward is for Undertaker to continue using his American Badass persona following the Boneyard match. I know you guys are happy about that.
Woo!
I just love that shit talking that comes with the badass persona. I just love how everybody he fight from here on out is gonna be, hey boy,
Boy,
hey boy,
yes, that's the
try me, I'll make
real
you famous.
redneck.
Try me, I'll make you famous, boy. You gotta love Unc Take, man. You gotta love Uncle Take, man.
Uncle Take. That's a good one. The Undertaker's Last Ride series that did the first look on WWE Network is set to debut very soon. It was filmed from WrestleMania 33 weekend in 2017 all the way up until this year, 2020. John Cena releases a cryptic tweet suggesting his retirement following the Firefly Funhouse. He says that if you're going to leave, you have to keep them guessing, apparently. That was what the tweet said.
He's going to be like every other wrestler that will come back whenever they are asked to, if he's available. If not, he'll just do like The Rock and just,
Facts. That was his bad attempt to try to mimic how Sting leaves when he leaves.
If we get Hollywood Cena, I'll be happy.
The only thing that's sure is that nothing's for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're probably right. WWE reports that WrestleMania 36 was the most social and digitally watched show in WWE history. WWE superstars are reportedly pushing for the company to remove its ban of the Power Driver on WWE TV. AEW news. Matt Hardy challenges La Champions, Chris Jericho, to an elite deletion match at the Hardy compound. Wrestling Observer reports that AEW has not decided when or if this match will take place. And all I have to say, my good friend Brian Zane,
I want to just see the little babies.
All I will say is that we'll repeat the testament of Brian Zane from Wrestling with Regret. Elite deletion. Don't tempt me with a good time. As soon as I heard that, my nipples got hard. I was ready for a wrestling orgasm. I was ready for it. I was Jericho and Hardy in an elite deletion match. Give me that.
I can't even get mad at him talking about his nipples get hard because I talk about getting woodies on here.
Exactly.
But on just a side note though, I got that shirt. We got the same shirt, but I need your shirt, boo. I need your shirt. Wow.
Okay. Thanks for sticking on time.
I don't know who I'm pointing to.
Moving on.
I hope I'm pointing to Krssi on here. I need that shirt.
No one will know.
Moving
on.
AEW
Double or Nothing has been officially canceled. The MGM Resort Arena has officially announced that all events up until May 31st have been canceled officially. Very sad news for everyone that was going out to Las Vegas. We feel very bad, but hopefully we get something in place of that from AEW. New Japan Pro Wrestling have shut down their Japan store this week and have canceled all events up until May 4th due to their current reinstated lockdown order due to the COVID-19 virus. Impact Wrestling has officially decided they're going to be filming from an undisclosed secret location for their next few weeks of television this coming week. The plan is to also shoot their now canceled Impact Rebellion pay-per-view as a TV special for Access TV. And ROH Ring of Honor has officially signed Angelina Love of the Allure to a new contract with the company. So that is all of the top news. So now we get to the meat and potatoes of this episode of True Heel Heat, where we're going to count down and rank all the WrestleManias from 1 through 36. How was your experience doing your research for this ranking? I'll start with Krssi Luv.
It was hard because I kind of forgot my job, and I'm apologizing to you, sir. But going and seeing you guys' numbers and seeing once you broke it down, it was kind of easy to put where I wanted for like my top 10. And then once it got to 10, I was like, ooh, where do I put everybody else? Like after 10, I didn't really care after, like, I just was like putting in fillers, like, jobbing people, just putting people there. I know who was going to be last. I knew that for sure. I knew who was going to be last, and I knew who was going to be my 10. So,
How about you, top guy JJ?
After number 4, that shit got hard as fuck. Oh my god! I was like, yo, I got my top. Like, I was like, I got this in the bag. I got my top 4 knocked out. I got my bottom 3 knocked out. So I was like, oh shit, there's still 29 more of these bitches.
Right.
There's still 29 more of these motherfuckers. And then it's like, yeah, as you know, Miss Krssi Luv just said, it's kind of now it's thinking about the moments, thinking about the memories, kind of like maybe putting on a film for a few minutes just to kind of get that to see what this WrestleMania gave me as far as watching the memory of it, see how it made me feel, and then start to think about the other aspects of the card. Like the top 10 was more of like a full breakdown for me, and then the rest was what moments felt better, what gave me the moments, what is it that stood out a little bit more than the other. And it's hard. That shit is hard. This is a lot harder than you think. Like counting down 36 of these motherfuckers when 20 of them are fucking bad. Like that shit is hard.
It's kind
Counting
of
down that last
difficult.
20 is a bitch.
I think if
it's
we
very
were all
difficult.
together, it probably would have been a little bit easier. But if you had to like do it by yourself and really think and be like, damn, what happened on this particular one? Like you had to like think back, like, damn, where was I when I seen this? Like what made this match stick out? Which made this like, you know, things like that.
Oh, you're welcome, boo, because we were there.
We were
Hey, yo,
there.
saying that having to punish my bro. Oh my god, seeing some of them shits in person too and seeing them live was like, oh god.
Right.
Oh god, here's my shit stain WrestleMania right here. This is my shit stain in the bed right here.
And you had to
Here's my
relive it.
skid marks.
Had to relive it. So let's start from the bottom. We go in from worst to best. Our worst WrestleMania. I think we all 3 agreed on this one. It was WrestleMania 9 from the Caesar Palace in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Wow.
I remember it like it was yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah, what do you remember about it?
The cheesy ass outfits and the 10 people that were there was bad on a hot ass day in Las Vegas.
Hey, all I remember is that this is the event.
And it wasn't live, it was taped. It wasn't even, it was like it was a taped WrestleMania. It wasn't live.
It was on tape delay. It wasn't taped. It was on tape delay, which means that it was a couple of minutes ahead. It wasn't taped. It wasn't. You gotta put the facts out there.
Okay.
I think this WrestleMania is very much remembered for the very bad ending that it had to it when Yokozuna defeats Bret the Hitman Hart, only to have
he died.
only to have the immortal Hulk Hogan come out and win
With
the
a busted eye.
WWF.
The whole fucking card was bad.
The whole busted
The
eye.
whole fucking night was bad. The whole event was bad. The outfits were bad. The venues were bad. The sky was bad. The looks was bad. The ring was bad. Giant Gonzalez was the worst thing I ever seen on TV. What the fuck? Mr. Fuji's angle with Yokozuna was shit. Hulk Hogan has to come out for his last moment of glory. It was the biggest shit show of a show I have ever seen in my fucking life. And I had to watch my hero surrender to Hulk fucking Hogan, and Bret Hart has to tell that ego flipping son of a bitch to go and win his title. Like, that shit was horrible. That shit was Bret Hart got shit thrown in his eyes to cost him the WWF Championship to Yokozuna. Then Hulk Hogan came out to console him or whatever, and then Hulk Hogan was then challenged by Mr. Fuji and Yokozuna, and Bret Hart is encouraging his fucking yellow ass to go in the ring. Go, brother! Go, brother! And then the fans, like, you want to see it, brother? And it's like, oh, God. No.
Because the behind the scenes story was that Hogan was just winning the title to eventually drop it to Bret, but Hogan changed his mind, and we never even got that match. Typical Hogan.
That's how WrestleMania 10 ended up in a tournament.
I think WrestleMania 9 is also remembered for the worst match of the Undertaker streak against Giant Gonzalez, like Top Guy JJ said before. The only good matches on this card is Shawn Michaels versus Tatanka, which is the opener. The Steiners versus the Head Shrinkers is okay. And it has the cool duel.
One of the stars kicks the shit out of Sensational Sherry. It was great. It's epic. Remembered it.
And you also had the dual doinks. The dual doinks. As Doink the Clown defeated Crush. And coming in At 35, after the second worst WrestleMania in history, WrestleMania 2, coming from 3 locations in New York City, Los Angeles, and Chicago. Not much to say about this WrestleMania. There are no really good matches on this card.
Very 80s.
Very 80s.
It was too shitty for one city.
Best way to describe it. Coming in at number 34, we have WrestleMania 11. This was headlined by Lawrence Taylor going one-on-one with Bam Bam Bigelow. The best match on the card is the WWF Championship matchup as Shawn Michaels gets his first shot at the title against Big Daddy Cool Diesel at WrestleMania. Other than that, it's a very bad card. You got the Undertaker and King Kong Bundy in a very slow match. Yeah, who was your favorite celebrity at WrestleMania 11?
I had just liked the whole gimmick where Shawn Michaels was supposed to bring out Pamela Anderson, but Pamela Anderson stood him up, and then he had to go out with Jenny McCarthy. It was just great 90s foolishness at its finest.
Come on, man. Where's your black card at, boo? My best thing about WrestleMania 11 was salt and pepper.
Absolutely.
What's wrong with you? Salt and pepper.
I only remember that's only because it goes with the Lawrence Taylor
McCarthy?
It goes with the foolishness with Lawrence Taylor. That was all trash. I'm sorry, friend. I'm sorry. Baywatch. I was a big fan of Baywatch. That's what that was back then. Sorry, friend. It was 90s. I was 11. What do you want me to do? I didn't know.
Pepper was popping at 11.
I mean, nope.
It's also remembered for Bret Hart's weakest match at WrestleMania as he versed Bob Backlund in a submission match. We move on to number 33, WrestleMania 15. We are near deep in the Attitude Era. This is 1999. This was in Philadelphia. It was headlined by Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock, which was the best match on this card. A lot of clusterfucks in this one. You had Billy Gunn versus Al Snow versus Hardcore Holly for the Hardcore title. You had the Road Dogg in an Intercontinental title match against the Godfather and Goldust. You had the hanging of Big Boss Man, one of the more memorable angles from 1999. And the Hell in a Cell match was one of the Undertaker's other worst matches in WrestleMania history. One of the other highlights, I would say, is X-Pac versus Shane McMahon in one of Shane McMahon's first good matches of his career.
This just tells you that WWE likes to hang people.
Yeah, and honorable mention, I guess, Triple H and Kane had a match.
No, that's not our honorable mention. Coming in at 32.
I'm trying for the sticky shit at the bottom of the barrel.
If you were gonna mention an honorable mention involving Triple H for WrestleMania 15, it is more famous for him turning heel for the first time, turning his back on D-Generation X at WrestleMania 15. Number 32, WrestleMania 32. Top Guy JJ was there live. That is highlighted by the first ever triple threat match for the WWE Women's Championship as Sasha Banks versus Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch. Also, the opener is one of the best openers in WrestleMania history. The Intercontinental title ladder match as Kevin Owens defended against 7 other men. So why is this WrestleMania near the bottom of the card? Top Guy JJ, go ahead, since you were there live.
So that was hard for me because, all right, so as far as being there, it had some amazing moments, but the moments had nothing to do with wrestling. It had, obviously, with people coming out, it had appearances and shit. The appearances, The Rock having his 6-second match with Eric Rowan, him coming out, cutting the longest promo ever.
It was longer for him to light up his letters on fire.
It took him an hour to come to the ring. I swear, I thought his song played back 8 times. I mean, the main event was long as shit. Even though we tried hard as hell to cheer on Triple H and the fans try to make that match better than what it really was because the match was shit. The card was the Triple H versus Roman Reigns.
Yes.
Triple H versus Roman Reigns was the headliner of the headliner of the show. Brock and Dean Ambrose. Oh my God, that was the shit show of shit show matches. So they basically threw the WWE roster in a clusterfuck called the New Day versus the League of Nations. this was just bad all over the place. It
Did have one of the biggest pops of the night as after the match, Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Mick Foley came out.
Moments. That's not like moments. Yeah. The moments didn't really have much to do with the actual matches. So it was, and then on top of that, obviously Shane's dive off the Hell in a Cell. And the women's match made it really hard for me to see this WrestleMania at this area. Because the women's match, the triple threat women's match, was one of the best women's matches I've ever seen. But that couldn't save the entire card. The show was 5 hours.
So we got to move on. WrestleMania 1 coming in at number 31. I think it's not at the bottom of the list because it was the first ever WrestleMania. This was headlined by Hulk Hogan teaming up with Mr. T to versus Roddy Piper and Paul Orndorff. Not much that we could say other than that about this card. It had the Body Slam challenge between Andre the Giant and Big John Studd, and this was at Madison Square Garden. A whole bunch of celebrities, very 80s, as Krssi Luv would say. Coming in at number 30 is WrestleMania 27. This one is most remembered for The Undertaker versus Triple H, no holds barred. It's also remembered for The Rock's return to the WWE being the guest host. Unfortunately, it's also remembered for The Rock interfering in the main event of WrestleMania as he helped The Miz defeat John Cena. And we found out that the whole main event for WrestleMania was just about setting up next year's main event. Yeah. WrestleMania 5 comes in at number 29. This is one of the earlier WrestleManias. This was headlined by the Mega Powers Implode. Our number one of our top 10 WrestleMania build-ups of all time. Probably the best put-together build-up ever of WWE. One that wasn't organically put together like Bryan versus Authority or Austin versus HBK. This was one that they planned out intricately, and it paid off perfectly, but it's near the bottom because other than that, not much else to say about this.
It was in Jersey at the Trump Hotel, and it was trash.
In Atlantic City, absolutely. Atlantic City, and the following year they got a little bit bigger. Coming in at number 28 is WrestleMania 6. The first WrestleMania of the 90s is headlined by The Ultimate Challenge. The Immortal Hulk Hogan defends the WWF Championship against the Intercontinental Champion, Ultimate Warrior. This is one of your earliest WrestleMania memories. What's your favorite memory from this WrestleMania, Top Guy JJ?
First of all, I would just say this was actually the first WrestleMania that I personally saw live. And the only reason I even remember this WrestleMania is how bad I wanted to see Hulk Hogan lose.
Oh, to Ultimate Warrior?
Yeah, all I wanted to see was the Ultimate Warrior.
You wasn't a Hulkamaniac?
Hell yeah, nah. I liked Hulk Hogan. I did like Hulk Hogan. I picked him in all my video games. But I wanted to see that wild, crazy man run down the ring and defeat this unbeatable. Because, so Hulk Hogan won at WrestleMania 1. He won at WrestleMania. It felt like he won at WrestleMania 1. He won at WrestleMania 2. He won at WrestleMania 3. He won at WrestleMania 5. He won at 5 years, Just kept winning. So it was like, oh God, okay.
He didn't deserve to beat Macho Man at WrestleMania 5.
If it ain't Savage, if it ain't the Giant, if it ain't Bundy, it's gotta be the Ultimate Warrior. It's gotta be him. So it was, the match sucked.
I like the match. The match it's one of Pat Patterson's greatest achievements that he put two average workers into this great WrestleMania match.
I'm only saying it for the new generation, but if I watched that, I actually rewatched that match about 2 weeks ago, and I was still into the test of strength.
Absolutely. I was still just the little parts of it. They told their story.
It was the story.
That was the best story they could have told.
But they had another great build-up to that one too.
To the show besides that.
So why is it so low?
The reason why it's higher. The reason why it's higher than WrestleMania 5 and a couple of the other WrestleManias we already named is because the atmosphere being in the Toronto Sky Dome, it made it much beautiful than a lot of the other earlier WrestleManias. So I believe that's why it's kind of in the middle, but not as low as some of the others.
Right.
Go ahead.
I think it was just the build up in the story that was told from those two together made it what it was. Other than that, yes, like you said, the rest of it was trash. But me personally watching it when I was a little girl, I was like, nah, fuck Ultimate Warriors, he's trash. I want Hulk Hogan to win. I was Hulkamaniac. I was little. I had the little the buddies. I had that. I had both of them.
I had both of them too. I had the buddies of both of them.
I had the buddies. I had him, Ultimate Warrior, and I had Macho Man. So
same.
I mean,
Same.
just to say
And
that
Jake
one of the headline matches was Big Boss Man versus Akeem. You kind of know where we're going.
It was the Battle of the Twin Towers. That was one of the top matches going into there.
Right.
Exactly. Coming in at number 27 is one that I believe most of us have went to. We went to WrestleMania 29. This was back in 2013 at MetLife Stadium. Baby. That was my first WrestleMania live. One of the best sets for WrestleMania that I've ever seen. This was most remembered for the Undertaker going one-on-one with CM Punk, and probably the best match of the night, one of the best matches of the Undertaker streak. It's also remembered for twice in a lifetime. The Rock versus John Cena, the rematch of WrestleMania 28. It's also remembered for Triple H versus Brock Lesnar, but I'm not sure if that's for good or bad reasons. Other than Punk versus Taker, there's not much else to talk about with this show. The Shield versus Show, Sheamus, and Orton was a good match. Fandango versus Jericho was a good match and a good surprise with Fandango winning, but no other matches were really that good. The main event was very long and drawn out, and it was a match that nobody wanted to see, so I think that's why this WrestleMania is so low.
And Diddy made the ranking worse, too.
Hey, I like Diddy. I'm coming home.
I'm going home. I'm going
That's
home.
when it was in New York, right? That was at the yes.
Exactly. Coming in at number 26 is the latest. It's the latest WrestleMania. It is WrestleMania 36, the WrestleMania that was just too big for just one night. This was highlighted by, of course, the Boneyard match between AJ Styles and The Undertaker on night 1, and night 2's Firefly Funhouse match between the Bray Wyatt and John Cena, but it has also very good to great matches like Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley, the ladder match between John Morrison, Jimmy Uso, and Kofi Kingston, well as Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins was another good to great matchup. I feel like it's kind of in the middle because it's a lot of recency bias. We can't make it higher than it already is. I kind of had it a little bit higher than what you guys kind of had it at, but I think we kind of already gave our thoughts on 36, so we'll move on.
Right.
Coming in at 25, we got WrestleMania 18. Of course, this was from the Toronto Sky Dome, back from WrestleMania 6. 12 years later, WrestleMania 18. This is most remembered for The Rock versus Hollywood Hulk Hogan, the Icon versus Icon battle. Not much else from the show. I feel like it had a very good opener with William Regal versus Rob Van Dam. Triple H versus Chris Jericho might have been I think it's underrated, honestly. It was a pretty good matchup when I watched this show back, but it's just in the wrong spot.
Yeah, it should have just flipped. And for me as a wrestling fan to say, if I had a match to recommend anybody, and we had this a lot of True Hill Heats ago, if I had one match to recommend, it would be The Rock versus Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 18 for the energy and the excitement and if you want to get into wrestling, that's the match for me. But everything else was like, goddamn. Goddamn, it was hard. So it's hard. From here on out, grading these WrestleManias was hard.
It was by one or two matches, pretty much.
It's literally by moments. The moments makes it hard. But this moment just couldn't outshine the combination of the rest of the countdown.
And then when you go back to look at this, you damn, back then we were really vested into those things, and now you damn, this shit is not good. Not all of them.
That match doesn't really ace that well. Rock and Hogan.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Back then it was oh my god,
wildin'.
It doesn't. It doesn't. I said this when you said that nonsense.
I showed that match to my 8-year-old nephew, and he loved it.
It's just that match. Other than that, the rest of the
but
card was
that's all I big up is that match.
I showed my 27-year-old nephew, and he was like, "Man, I used to be a fan of The Rock." Moving on to number 24,
wow.
WrestleMania 2000 or WrestleMania 16. This is most remembered for the Triangle Ladder match between Edge, Christian, the Hardys, and the Dudleys. Also, you had the three-way dance between Kurt Angle defending the Intercontinental and the European title against Chris Benoit and Chris Jericho. Kind of in the middle, though, because of the main event, the McMahons in every corner, Triple H winning that fatal four-way that really should have been Triple H versus The Rock with Mick Foley, The Rock, and Big Show. That's why it's so low. It's at number 24. 23, we got WrestleMania 12 from the Anaheim, California, at the Pond. This was main evented by the first ever Iron Man match between Shawn Michaels and Bret the Hitman Hart. This is also remembered for the Undertaker versus Diesel. What's your biggest memory from WrestleMania 12, Krssi Luv?
Shawn Michaels coming down the whole barricade, the
Coming down from the Raptors.
Yep, there you
go. One of the best entrances ever, I would say.
I think that's what entrances like really like started getting like being a thing.
I would say that's the first WrestleMania entrance that I really remember that well.
Yeah.
Coming in at 22, we got from New Orleans, from the Superdome, WrestleMania 34. This was headlined by the rematch between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. Probably the reason why it's so low on our list.
Fucking bloodbath, though.
It was a bloodbath, but this one is most remembered for the debut of our Lord and Savior, UFC Hall of Famer, the baddest woman on the planet, Ronda Rousey. An out-of-body experience for me, seeing it live. Ronda Rousey teaming with Kurt Angle to defeat Stephanie McMahon and Triple H mixed tag team matchup. This is also remembered for the place where Asuka's streak ended as Charlotte Flair defeated her in a great matchup.
Great.
It's also remembered for I think it was a 2-minute match between The Undertaker and John Cena that everybody wished for years, but only got about 2 minutes of it.
And John Cena begged for.
Yes. This one is also remembered for the blown dream match that was Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles.
Yes.
And that explains why it's so low on our list. Coming in at number 21 is WrestleMania 25 from the Houston Astrodome. Of course, this is most remembered for Mr. WrestleMania versus The Streak, The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels in probably top 2 WrestleMania matches of all time. I wouldn't be argued if you called this the greatest WrestleMania match of all time. We had it at number 2 for our top 10 countdown if you didn't watch that video. This also had a very good Money in the Bank ladder match where CM Punk won for the second straight year. It had the Battle of the Hardys, Matt versus Jeff. But this WrestleMania is also remembered for
people into the families. Like they always like messing up homes, yo. I don't understand this.
Well, it makes intriguing matchups. But I think the polarizing main event of Randy Orton versus Triple H is why this WrestleMania is so low. What's your biggest highlight and low light from WrestleMania 25? Top guy JJ.
Oh my God! You know what's crazy is that I was really looking forward to that Triple H and Orton match too because that rivalry got really nasty. Like,
the build up, that was one of my honorable mentions for one of the better build-ups to WrestleMania.
And it turned into a wrestling match. And then it became a wrestling match. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You just lost like 10 points right there. but then what got it up to this number is, in my opinion, the second greatest WrestleMania match in history.
Which is?
That, to me, is number 2, which is obviously Taker and Michaels 1. That's the... And I have a different reason for my number 1, but that was the number 2 match for me, in my opinion, as far as greatest WrestleMania matches, and my number 1 involved.
Whoa! We can talk about it when we get to that WrestleMania. you need to know how to do this. Like, let's move on to number.
SP, shut up.
I'm just saying. You don't blow your load. Coming in,
I blow a lot of loads.
I'm pretty sure. Coming in at number 20 is WrestleMania 35. This is last year from MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. This was headlined by the first ever all-female main event of WrestleMania as Charlotte Flair defended the SmackDown Women's Championship against Ronda Rousey's Raw Women's Championship against the Royal Rumble winner Becky Lynch. This is most remembered for the journey that was Kofi Mania, as Kofi Kingston defeated Daniel Bryan to become the WWE Champion. This was also highlighted by a very good opener, a very underrated opener, as Seth Rollins defeated Brock Lesnar for the WWE Universal Championship. Krssi Luv, you were there live for WrestleMania 35. What's your biggest highlight and low light from that show?
Highlight definitely was Kofi Mania. Low light, it was a long ass goddamn day. It was a long day.
8 hours, bro.
And I drove there. Thank God I did, because I would have been stranded out there.
Bless your heart.
So I did all my drinking at the beginning of the day. So I was able to get home with no problem. But it was a long ass day. And if I ever do a WrestleMania again, I don't know. I'd rather watch it at home with friends than be there, because it's good to be there in person and live. It's no experience like it, but I think it is better being at home with friends, drinking and eating and just chilling and shit talking together, where you're in the comfort of your own home, where you don't have to like drive or do anything like that. So I think that for me, it was like, that was my low, just like being that long ass day.
All right. So let's move on to number 19, WrestleMania 13. This was in 1997 at the Rosemont Horizon in Chicago, Illinois. This was headlined.
Locations and all, friend.
This was headlined by The Undertaker winning the WWF Championship over Psycho Sid, one of the weaker main events to WrestleMania. What was your biggest highlight from this WrestleMania right here, Top Guy JJ?
I think it is clear as day. The third greatest WrestleMania match in my lifetime, which was Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like, oh my God, like signature look and all. Match was bad motherfucking ass. Like, that was the highlight of the entire show, bar none. Not even need to talk about any other match on that card. It was all about that bout right there.
Yep, that was the show.
That was our number one on our top 10 best WrestleMania matches of all time. The submission match between Bret Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin. It basically created the Attitude Era, the most successful period in professional wrestling history. Gave us the biggest babyface in wrestling history and one of the most underrated heels of all time with the anti-USA, the pro-Canadian Bret the Hitman Hart.
Absolutely loved it. Bret redeemed himself so much from the prior WrestleMania.
Yep.
12 was a fucking snooze fest.
Coming in at number 18 is WrestleMania 28. This is from 2012 from Miami, Florida, the Citrus Bowl.
Once in a lifetime.
This was once in a lifetime. The Rock going one-on-one with John Cena. But the best match on this card, this one right here, is most remembered for the end of an era. The Hell in a Cell match, as The Undertaker went one-on-one with Triple H in a rematch from WrestleMania 27 with the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels as the special guest referee. One of the better WrestleMania matches in history as well. Also, CM Punk defeated Chris Jericho to defend the WWE Championship. But other than that, this WrestleMania should not be remembered for much else besides the 18-second loss of Daniel Bryan, which created the Yes Movement, which we'll get into a little bit shortly when we get into that WrestleMania. Coming in at number 17, and this is where we'll go back to Top Guy JJ because he's going to be upset it's this low. Coming in at number 17 is WrestleMania 4 from Atlantic City at Trump Plaza. This is the WrestleMania that is most known for the WWF Championship Tournament. It was a 16-man tournament to determine the WWF champion after the famous Saturday Night's main event in January of 1988, as Andre the Giant went one-on-one with the immortal Hulk Hogan. We had the twin referees, the referee that $1 Million Man paid to screw over Hulk Hogan. Andre the Giant defeated Hulk Hogan and handed over the title to $1 Million Man, and then President Jack Tunney decided to make this tournament to determine a new WWF champion, and in the end, the Macho Man Randy Savage defeated 4 superstars to become the WWF champion for the first time. Top Guy JJ, you had this in your top 3 originally because you love this WrestleMania.
You guys are assholes for this one, all right?
I didn't do it. Not you guys. Don't do that.
I'm going to run down for my two heel friends. My two heel friends who was in this tournament. This was a tournament for the vacant WWF Championship title belt. The people that was in Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, The Rock, Don Morocco, Dino Bravo, Ricky Steamboat, Greg the Hammer Valentine, the Macho Man Randy Savage, Bam Bam Bigelow, Jake the Snake Roberts, and Rick fucking Rude. And that is here in this case. That's here in a tournament. They were all in a tournament. The first ever wrestling tournament. And we ungrateful freaking voters have it here. You know
what number are we on?
That was 17 WrestleMania 4.
How many motherfucking Hall of Famers did I just name off that list?
I have one question for you. What was the good match on this card?
Rick Rude and Jake Roberts went to a no contest, which was really fucking fun. The main event was really fucking cool. The main event was full of drama, which was Macho Man versus Ted DiBiase.
And it took Hulk Hogan to help him win the title.
But, when you're a fan and you realize you're getting something other than Hulk Hogan winning, felt amazing. It felt that we was going to get a WWF champion that we had no idea who it was going to be. Who would have predicted? Like, there was a legit chance that the $1 Million Man could have been a WWF champion.
He coulda, woulda, shoulda, but didn't. Coming in at number 16, WrestleMania 22. We are back in Chicago, Illinois. This was headlined by John Cena defending the WWE Championship against Triple H. This WrestleMania is most remembered for the best match that was the hardcore match between Edge and Mick Foley, giving us a WrestleMania moment like ever before as Edge speared him into a flaming table. This is also remembered for one of the best women's matches at WrestleMania as Mickie James stalked her way to the WWE Women's Championship, defeating Trish Stratus. Also remembered for the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels in a tremendous one-man performance as he dragged Vince McMahon to his greatest match ever in their no-holds-barred matchup at the same event. But this is a WrestleMania that is very underrated, but it's somewhere in the middle because it doesn't have that many very good moments or matches on great matches on this card. Coming in at that was WrestleMania 22. Okay. Coming in at number 15, we have WrestleMania 7. This is one of the more earlier WrestleManias that's higher up on our list here. This is most remembered for the main event as Hulk Hogan regained the WWF Championship, defeating the traitor that was Sergeant Slaughter. He betrayed his country. But this WrestleMania is most remembered for the retirement match of the Ultimate Warrior defeating Macho Man Randy Savage. After the match, Sensational Sherry kicking the bejesus out of Macho Man Randy Savage, leading to Miss Elizabeth coming out of the crowd, dragging that bitch by the hair, dragging her and pushing her out, and then reuniting with her man, the Macho Man Randy Savage, in one of the earliest WrestleMania moments. Yep. One of the earliest love stories in wrestling. And it all culminated right here at WrestleMania 7. Also, I would say go out of your way to watch The Rockers versus Haku and Barbarian. The Rockers in the early 90s had some of the most underrated matches on these WWF pay-per-views. Yep. And WrestleMania 7 is no exception right there. But it's kind of in the middle because all of the other matches are kind of either bad or just okay. Coming in at number 14, we'll go to Krssi Luv on this one. We got WrestleMania 8 from the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis, Indiana. This was headlined by a very wanting to forget Hulk Hogan in his retirement match versus Sid Justice as the Ultimate Warrior returned to the WWE. This is most remembered for Macho Man Randy Savage defeating Ric Flair to become the WWF champion for the second time, as well as Bret the Hitman Hart regaining the Intercontinental Championship in a bloody physical war against Roddy Piper.
Which was a great match.
This is one of your favorite WrestleManias. Tell us your highlight and low light from the show.
My highlight is definitely Macho Man winning. I hated the placement of that match. It was like right in the middle of the show. Worst part. It should have been at the ending, but I guess it had to be for Hulk Hogan and Sid.
Crazy?
What?
Hulk Hogan!
This guy.
Hulk Hogan in a grudge match.
He screwed Sid. He screwed Sid at the Royal Rumble 1992. I just rewatched it. He screwed him.
Joke. It's a fucking joke.
Sid. Screwed my namesake. Screwed Sid. Sid has been in 2 main events.
Your namesake. That's funny. Yes. That's so true.
Any lowlights from the show?
My low light?
Hogan?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, Roddy Piper was a good match, him and Bret. The Shawn Michaels and Tito Santana match is good too.
It's a very early days of Shawn Michaels where he's still with Sensational Sherry, but it's very fun to look back on with the early days of the Heartbreak Kid. But we move on to number 13. We got WrestleMania 33. I believe that this is the highest of any of the manias from like the last 5 years or so. This was from Orlando, Florida. From the what's the goofy name they came up for that stadium? I'll let y'all figure it out. You can put it in the comments section below. But this is most remembered for the Hardy Boys returning to the WWE and having a great ladder match to become the Raw Tag Team Champions. This is also remembered for
the New Day hosting the show.
No.
What?
The false
retirement
of The Undertaker. Where he took off his hat,
and left it in the ring. You're right.
BS. AJ Styles and Shane McMahon had a really great matchup to open up the show. One of the best openers. It's in our top 10 openers for WrestleMania in WrestleMania history. You also had, I believe that's pretty much all the highlights from the show. And like I said before, this is the best set that WrestleMania has ever had. WrestleMania 33 with the roller coaster. Coming in at number 12, we have...
Go. Give me the green light.
Best song. Give me the green light. Because I'm ready to go. Coming in at number 12, we got WrestleMania 20. WrestleMania 20 from 2004. We're back at the Madison Square Garden in New York City. This was headlined by Chris Benoit winning the World Heavyweight Championship, defeating HBK and Triple H in an epic, classic triple threat match, as well as Eddie Guerrero defeating Kurt Angle for the and defending his WWE Championship, and both men having one of the best endings to a WrestleMania ever. This is also remembered for John Cena winning his first title in the WWE, defeating Big Show in the opener to become the United States champion, as well as Randy Orton, Batista, and Ric Flair defeating the Rock and Sock Connection. This is one of my low-key favorite WrestleManias, honestly. I love the New York feel of it. This had the return of the Undertaker to the Dead Man gimmick, so a lot of great moments and matches from this WrestleMania.
Yo, remember when they advertised the him and Kane match? How they advertised Undertaker as just the tombstone? Like he was just the tombstone. You ain't even see what he looked like. You didn't even see what he looked like because he had cut his hair and shit. So
Were you happy
to hide him.
Came out as the Dead Man?
Oh, we knew it was coming though.
We knew it was coming, but it was
awesome.
It was fun to have it, and Paul Bearer being there definitely made it up a little bit bigger. And I think that this WrestleMania is as low in that it didn't hit our top 10, mainly because it has one of the worst matches in WrestleMania history, as Brock Lesnar went one-on-one with Goldberg in front of the rowdy New York crowd.
The hot price of a high-profile dream match like that, shit in the bed like that, really hurt this ranking.
Mm-hmm.
Coming
That should have been a top 5 WrestleMania. It should have been top 5.
Definitely. Yeah. Coming in at number 11, we have WrestleMania 3, one of the highest attended WrestleManias in history. 93,000 people packed the Pontiac Silverdome to watch Hulk Hogan body slam Andre the Giant in one of probably the first ever WrestleMania moment that everybody remembers. Hogan slamming Andre and defeating him in the main event. What?
This is way too high.
This is not way too high. This had one of the biggest WrestleMania moments and one of the best WrestleMania matches of all time as the Macho Man Randy Savage versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat for the WWF Intercontinental Championship. It also had Roddy Piper's retirement match as he defeated Adrian Adonis in a very good matchup.
But he didn't
number
really
5 WrestleMania match of all time.
Okay.
What? Number 5 for you?
Yeah. That was number 5.
Number 3? Okay.
All right, coming in, this is the top 10. This is what you've been waiting for, folks. Top 10
WrestleMania. Cream of the crop.
The cream of the crop. Starting off at number 10, we have WrestleMania 26. This is from Phoenix, Arizona. This was main evented by Career versus Streak. The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, the rematch. One of the best WrestleMania build-ups of all time. That was also in our top 10. It made the top 5 WrestleMania build-ups of all time, and this is a classic matchup. It also had Cena versus Batista for the WWE Championship. It had Chris Jericho versus Edge for the World Heavyweight Championship. CM Punk versus Rey Mysterio. One of the better cards for WrestleMania that they've ever put together, but a couple of low lights. I feel like it went a little bit long in the tooth. The opener was a dud for the tag team titles at Show Miz versus Morrison and R-Truth. Batista and Cena did not get as much time as they really needed. And as well as Punk and Mysterio also only got 6 minutes. They didn't get enough time. And Edge and Jericho could have been a little bit better. Coming in at number 9, I'll get your thoughts on this one. This is WrestleMania 14, probably the Attitude Era WrestleMania right here. This is the one where Attitude Era really started. This is headlined by the Stone Cold Era beginning as Stone Cold Steve Austin drops Shawn Michaels with the Stone Cold Stunner to become the WWF champion as Mike Tyson counts the 1, 2, 3. This is also remembered for the first battle between Kane and The Undertaker and the dumpster match between Chainsaw Charlie and Cactus Jack versus the New Age Outlaws. Krssi Luv, what was your biggest highlight from this WrestleMania?
Definitely Shawn and Stone Cold. That's why I put that ranking there. Living it, being a kid, the Attitude Era, Shawn, Stone Cold, like the birth of him being so big. That story build up, even like you thinking Shawn had no reason not to win because he had Mike Tyson in his corner, but at the very end, he gets his ass kicked and Stone Cold wins. So it's so good. Being a 14-year-old kid watching that is just amazing.
Top guy JJ, what was your biggest low light from 14?
People might give me a little bit of shit for this one, but fucking who was at WrestleMania 14? I believe it was Pete Rose.
Oh, yes. No, you're not gonna get no heat.
Pete Rose just got tombstone.
And that was an excellent impersonation. You're not very good with impersonation, but that was excellent.
That was wonderful. That was spot on, friend. Good job.
All right, can we get to the match? Can we get to why we came to see Kane to fight his brother?
Correct.
Get this fucker out of here, yo.
Pete Roll. Coming in at number 8, we got WrestleMania 23 from Ford Field in Detroit, Michigan. This was headlined by John Cena defeating HBK Shawn Michaels in a great matchup for the WWE Championship. Probably a little bit better, I would say, was The Undertaker defeating Batista to become the World Heavyweight Champion. That was a match that kind of exceeded everybody's expectations at the time. This is most remembered as one of the highest grossing WrestleManias, and a lot of that is due to the Battle of the Billionaires as Vince McMahon went up against Donald Trump, hair versus hair, with Vince being represented by Umaga, Trump being represented by Bobby Lashley, and it also had probably the most star-studded lineup to a Money in the Bank ladder match ever with Rated RKO, The Hardys, Finlay, Booker T, Mr. Kennedy, and CM Punk. Coming in at number 7, we got WrestleMania 31 from Santa Clara, California. This is the WrestleMania that was highlighted by the heist of the century as Seth Rollins cashed in Money in the Bank during Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns to become the WWE champion. This is also remembered for the greatest RKO in history as Seth got his curb stomp reversed into the RKO. This is also remembered for Sting making his debut in the WWE as he versed Triple H in the clusterfuck that was called the Monday Night Wars Must Return, because we got a WCW guy in this matchup. But this WrestleMania is definitely a WrestleMania that exceeded all expectations because it's probably one of the weaker build-ups to any WrestleMania in history, but it definitely exceeded all expectations. Coming in at number 6, this is one we got to talk to Top Guy JJ about because he feels like this is the most underrated WrestleMania. Number 6 is WrestleMania 21. WrestleMania goes Hollywood from Los Angeles, California. This was headlined by the coronations of both John Cena defeating JBL as well as Batista defeating Triple H to become the WWE champion and World Heavyweight champion respectively. But it's also highlighted by one of the greatest matchups in WrestleMania history as the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels versus Kurt Angle in a dream matchup. Also, you had Randy Orton versus The Undertaker, and you had the first ever Money in the Bank ladder match, as well as Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero on a WrestleMania. Top Guy JJ, why do you feel it's the most underrated?
Dude, you just literally took like almost all of my answers. Like, this card was stacked. And then, to me, this is everybody has a different feeling when it comes to wrestling matches, and this, in my opinion, this is opinion, so it's not fact. To me, this was my number 1 WrestleMania match of all time with Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels. That was a wrestling masterpiece, like clinic for clinics. If you are a patient that is in need to learn how to wrestle, put that bitch on, and if you get anything out of that match, you'll be successful. And just having Eddie and Ray on the card, having the Randy Orton and Undertaker match, to me, is so vastly underrated. It is so vastly underrated. And in my opinion, the greatest counter of Randy Orton's career. Turning that chokeslam into a fucking full straight up RKO. Like, that just created moments out of, and then the fucking, how can anybody forget the build up to this shit? The WrestleMania goes Hollywood build up. Like the everything about that card, to me, it was just a fantastic WrestleMania. I am heartbroken that it is this low on the countdown.
Not very low. Made the top 10, top 6. Coming in at number 5, just ahead of it, is WrestleMania 10. This is the highest any of the 90s WrestleManias got. WrestleMania 10 was from Madison Square Garden. This was headlined by Bret the Hitman Hart regaining the WWF Championship, defeating Yokozuna. But he started off the night in a classic against his little brother, Owen Hart, where Owen defeated Bret in a classics, a match that has so much realism to it, and it's so technically sound that it still lives up if you watch it in 2020, even though it happened in 1994. And it also had the show stealer of all show stealers, the first ever ladder match between Razor Ramon and the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels. What would you say is the better of those 2 5-star matches to you, Miss Krssi Luv? The ladder match?
Oh, yeah, I had to cover 21, boo-boo. You got 10.
Good.
Damn.
What's the better of the 2?
I'd say the ladder match.
Why?
Because it just shows, like, the Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels, they wrestled their asses off in that match, man. I feel like that the story behind it, like everything in that match, and even if you heard like the behind the scenes from that match, like that was the only ladder in that arena, and they tried their best not to break it. The ladder almost breaking during the match. It's just like overall great storytelling between those 2 guys.
Awesome.
For me.
I agree. Coming in at number 4, we got back at New Orleans. This is in 2014, WrestleMania 30. WrestleMania 30 is highlighted, of course, and remembered for the journey of Daniel Bryan as he defeats Triple H in the opener of WrestleMania 30 in a classic matchup, and then in the main event defeats Randy Orton and Batista to become the WWE World Heavyweight Champions in two great matchups from Daniel Bryan. But I think everyone remembers WrestleMania 30 for the end of The Undertaker's legendary streak. This was your number one WrestleMania of all time, Miss Krssi Luv. So tell us why.
Because of the streak, man. It was sad. Like I was like in disbelief. I was like, nah, he can't lose. Like it's an actual streak for a reason. Like it's like this because he keeps winning. And I was just like, I sat there and I was like, nah, he's not gonna win. And then he lost, and then he loses. I'm like, wait, what? Just that's what made it like number one for me. And the set was good. It's just like where it was at, all of the above. But that's what made it number one for me.
I had it in, definitely had it in my top three. Why would you say it was lower for you, Top Guy JJ? Because you were the one that had this lowest out of all three of us.
Because the other Manias just meant a little bit more to me in perspective, because I felt like this story, the WrestleMania story, was mainly, it got dominated by one man's journey, which was one of the best wrestling stories of all time. It just felt like the other WrestleManias had a little bit more impact across the board. And those two things, obviously, come on, man. I'm not a fan of the Undertaker streak ending, so I'm not going to put WrestleMania high up and make it the fucking hierarchy one because I saw my guy lose his streak. But, you know, it's really high up there. Like, it's up there. Like, it's still one of our upper echelon WrestleManias. But just for me personally, there was other aspects in other Manias that just, as a combination of things, took a little bit more effect for me.
I think this is the one that's going to surprise people the most. Coming in at number 3, we got WrestleMania 24. Back in Orlando, Florida, this was main evented and headlined by The Undertaker regaining the World Heavyweight Championship against the Rated R superstar Edge. This was an 8-month culmination of a storyline where Edge cashed in Money in the Bank over The Undertaker. He got hurt. The Undertaker got hurt. Then they came back. Edge kept screwing The Undertaker out of the World Heavyweight Championship, leading to this classic, probably the most underrated of any matchup on The Undertaker streak. This is probably one of the best matchups he's ever had at WrestleMania. But this WrestleMania is most remembered for the final WWE matchup of the illustrious career of the Nature Boy. Woo! Woo! As he was defeated by, I'm sorry, I love you, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, in one of the most emotional matchups in the history of the WWE as a company. And it had one of the better sets, a fun Money in the Bank ladder match, a fun WWE title match as Randy Orton defeated John Cena and Triple H. Why do you think, either one of you, why do you think this WrestleMania doesn't get talked about as much as the others?
I want to flip that to you, actually. I want to hear your perspective on this one, because that WrestleMania match between Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels is probably the most underrated match of Ric Flair's life. And he, for somebody of his age and status, the match he put on with Shawn Michaels was a fucking beauty.
Yep.
So anybody that would be surprised at how high this WrestleMania is ranked, watch the show.
Yep.
Then watch that match and watch the work of a man that is damn near 55 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, me myself, I had this WrestleMania on DVD. I actually purchased the DVD because
so do I.
This is one of my favorite. This is one of my favorite WrestleManias. The retirement match here in HBK, like I said, is one of the most emotional matchups in WrestleMania history. Edge versus Taker is a top 5 WrestleMania main event ever. Out of all 36 WrestleManias, Edge and Taker is in the top 5. And a lot of people don't talk about this match. Probably one of the best celebrity matches we ever seen is at this WrestleMania, as Floyd Money Mayweather defeated The Big Show in a David versus Goliath type of battle. JBL versus Finlay in the opener, the Belfast Brawl, is a fun match. You see the cover right there.
Motherfuckers know I ain't lying. This shit was the truth.
It was hot. My nephew has my copy right now, so I can't show him mine. But we're gonna move on to our top two. Our top two WrestleManias of all time. Coming in at number 2, we go all the way back to 2003. 2003 from Seiko Field in Seattle, Washington. We have WrestleMania 19. Probably top to bottom, the most WrestleMania in history. Main evented by Brock Lesnar defeating Kurt Angle to become the WWE champion with one of the most famous botches in wrestling history. You had the battle for who created WrestleMania as Hollywood Hulk Hogan went one-on-one with Mr. McMahon. You had the final battle between Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock. You had the show stealer that was just Shawn Michaels defeating Chris Jericho in a student versus teacher type of battle. You had Rey Mysterio versus Matt Hardy in the opener, a three-way matchup for the WWE Tag Team titles. Why do you think this is the most stacked card in WrestleMania history, Top Guy JJ?
Top to bottom, like besides with the exception of the Undertaker's match because he got a shit deal out of this. Besides with the exception of his match, all right, you got Triple H versus Booker T. You had we had Rey Mysterio versus Matt Hardy. You had Brock Lesnar versus fucking Kurt Angle. You had Chris Jericho versus Shawn Michaels. You just had match after match after fuck, and it was like, wait a minute, how can they fit this all on a card?
Yeah.
And with the exception of maybe one of the matches, everything delivered.
Yeah.
The whole card delivered. Like if the Undertaker would have had a better opponent,
it would have been.
They gave him the A Train and whoever the fuck.
Big Show.
Like what the fuck? So it was, and then they brought out this bum Nathan Jones. That's the only reason why in my mind this isn't number one. They fucked up Undertaker's match, so that's their blimp. That's their one mistake. But other than that, this card to me was fucking spot on. Spot on.
Came very close to overtaking our number one, but number one is, of course, WrestleMania 17, the culmination of the Attitude Era in 2001 from Houston, Texas. It's headlined by one of the greatest main events in WrestleMania history as Stone Cold Steve Austin regains the WWF Championship versus The Rock in a no disqualification matchup. This also has a technical masterpiece that was Kurt Angle versus Chris Benoit. This had a good opener with William Regal versus Chris Jericho. This has one of the biggest stunt shows in WWE history, TLC 2, Tables, Ladders, and Chairs, as Edge and Christian regained the WWF Tag Team titles versus the Hardys versus the Dudleys. Match after match, this card is just stacked. You had the gimmick battle royal. You got Vince versus Shane. You got Eddie Guerrero versus Test. There's not a bad match on this card. Pretty much, you can watch this card from start to finish. You won't have to skip anything. You'll enjoy it, and you get the Attitude Era in a nutshell. Even though Raven versus Kane versus Big Show match, it's just fun. It's one of the most fun matches you will ever see, hardcore title matches you will ever see. Krssi Luv, what's your greatest memory from WrestleMania 17?
Being a 17-year-old kid and just like being more aware of like the Attitude Era and like the whole thing. It's just like from beginning to end, like something like as a kid, like you was like, damn, I really love wrestling at that time. Like it was just something like us being like, I don't know if it was us being kids and we're teenagers, not being like being like blown to what's happening, but just living in that time where it was like a match after match after match, which was just like unbelievable wrestling. Like you just like, I really love wrestling back then.
And what about you, Top Guy JJ, before we wrap up our ranking?
Wow. Like epic. Like seeing this live.
Right.
Like I just remember being there and just it's like I'm starting from the main event and just looking at my TV and just being in fucking shock.
I was just about to ask you, are you
like
there
when,
live, friend?
No, God, I wish. When
I think we all
Cold,
right.
Stone Cold beat The Rock down like a fucking slave. Like when I was a slavery beating right there. When he took that
16 chair
chair,
shot.
when he took, he was hitting his legs, his back, his shoulders, his stomach, his feet, his hand. He just anywhere the chair can make contact.
Yeah.
And it was like, holy, what the fuck am I watching right now? Like, I've never been that shocked at an outcome. And then the most underrated match that I don't think anybody ever talks about, which is another masterpiece clinic, is Chris Benoit versus Kurt Angle. Like, holy shit. Like, you want your drama, then you want your wrestling, then you want your spectacle, then you get a fucking tables, ladders, and chairs match, then you want a hardcore match, then you want to get a fucking gimmick match with the fucking APA and the right to censor. Like, any type of match you want is on this card. Like, everything you want is in WrestleMania X7. And they didn't miss
X7?
anything. Like, that's
X7,
what
17,
Right? X7.
They missed nothing on this card. Like that. This is like, if you look top to bottom, this card was spot on.
100%. It is definitely in all agreements the best WrestleMania in history. So that has been our True Hill Heat WrestleMania rankings from 1 to 36. I hope you guys enjoyed it because we did a lot of work to put this together for you guys. Put down in the comment section below if you disagree, if you feel like there's a WrestleMania that we rank too low or too high, and where you would place it. And if you want, please put down below your rankings for all 36 WrestleManias. If you got the time like we did, put it down below.
Please let us know. Let us know. This shit was work.
Yes.
A couple of plugs. True Hill Heat 68 is up on our YouTube channel, so you can hear all of our thoughts and reactions from WrestleMania 36. A new edition of Nest XT. He's going to review the NXT that we went over on this episode, as well as Jimmy and Cash will go over all AEW Dynamite on the All Elite recap this weekend. And Dark Power is up on our YouTube channel right now. Check out all of our countdowns for WrestleMania week. Top 5 worst WrestleManias, top 10 WrestleMania build-ups, top 10 WrestleMania openers, and the top 10 best WrestleMania matches. A new SmackDown with the Lynches, so our lovely Princess of all the True Heels with her family is going to break down all of the news and notes from SmackDown after WrestleMania, and and check out our all new Dark Side of the Ring Brawl for All review. And that's up on the YouTube channel right now, but you can check it out this weekend as well. Krssi Luv, Top Guy JJ, where can they find you on social media?
You can find me on Twitter, IG, Facebook, Sensationalist Krssi Luv, or Krssi Luv _ or Crystal Lynch. See you there.
All right, and for Instagram, for me, it's TrueHill _ Top Guy JJ. At Facebook, I'm Justin Johnson. And I'm not going to keep promoting Twitter until I get a handle on it because I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing on it yet.
Yeah.
On Facebook, you can become a part of the True Hills group page, as well as like and support the Pro Wrestling Spotlight, Dirt Sheet Radio, or our friends at Battle Club Pro. You can also follow Battle Club Pro on the Twitter machine and Instagram, True Hill Heat. You can like and support us on Facebook. Follow the Twitter page as well as the Instagram page. On Instagram, I am True Hill _ Epic SP3, and True Hill Heat is coming soon to Anchor, where we'll be available on all of your audio platforms for podcast enjoyment. So stay tuned to that. So, for the lovely Miss Krssi Luv, for the resident True Hill alcoholic Top Guy JJ, it is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3. This has been the very aptly named True Hill Heat 69. We are signing off until True Hill Heat 70 next week. Signing off until next time.
Word life.